Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Welcome again, my dear students, 10th grade students. Here we are still with the 10th grade students, student walk, page 79, workbook page 70. Of course, today we have language focus 2. This is must have, can't have, might, may, could have. And of course, this is to talk about speculation. Of course, this is not the name of the grammar in your lesson. This is the real name of this grammar topic. Of course, today students would be able to recognize the use of the models for possibilities or guessings in the past. This is speculation. Complete the sentences using the correct models and produce their own speculations about certain past situations. Of course, this is on your student book, page 79, as we mentioned before. This is language focus 2. What are we going to talk about? Let's start with this short presentation about the use of these models, namely must, have, can't have, might, may, and could have, of course, to give possibility or speculation about the past tense. Okay, so let's start with this short presentation. These are models for speculations in the past. Let's start from the beginning. So the objective is the students will learn and practice the past models so as to speculate about past situation. What is a speculation? So what is the meaning of speculation? What's the function of these models? It's guessing how possible an action or a statement is in the present, future, or was in the past. So we use these models to say how possible are these models. So to make a guess, to make guesses or to speculate about the past, namely the past tense. Today we are talking about the past tense. So we have these models: must, may, might, could, and can't. So of course we have must means something is quite certain. Can't means something is quite impossible. And of course we have may, might, and could. We don't have a difference between these three models are used to express less certain possibilities in the past. Of course, if we are talking about the past, we use have and past participle. When we talk about the present, we usually use these models with the verb infinitive. But now, when you want to say that something is quite certain, you are sure that something is true, this is must have past participle. Something is quite impossible, this is can't have past participle. Something is not quite sure, may, might, could, and again have past participle. Let's have some example. So here is the question with the photo: who broke the window? Who broke the window? We don't know, so we'll try to give a guessing. Someone may have broken the window. We don't know. We're not quite sure. So may have broken the window. Someone might have broken the window, or someone could have broken the window. Okay, so what about if we have some clue, past evidence? So here, for example, someone saw Jack. Here's a past clue: Jack was playing near the window yesterday. So that's why we are quite sure that who broke the window. Now you can say that Jack must have broken the window. I'm quite certain about this possibility in the past. That's why we used must. How are we sure about this speculation? Because we have a clue. We have evidence. So because Jack was playing near the window yesterday, Jack must have broken the window. He must have broken the window. It means we are quite sure that he did that. Okay, again, let's have another example. Let's practice. How do you think the burglar got in? We have this photo, and here we have a broken glass of the window, so he must have climbed through the window. He may have escaped through the window. We don't know how he got away out of the room. He may have escaped, he might have escaped, or he, of course, could have escaped. We are sure that he must have climbed through the window, but how he got out of the room, we don't know. That's why we use may, might, and could. So we always use modal verb, have, and past participle to express the past possibility or to have your guessing. Let's have another example. So what was wrong with the computer? They must have been angry. We are quite sure. No one can do this unless he is quite angry. The computer may have been very slow. This is an explanation. We don't know why did they do that. So the computer may have been very slow. They can't have been in a good mood. It's impossible that they were in a good mood, so that's why we give this guessing with can't. We are quite sure that this is impossible. Yes, we have someone with a driving test. Why was the man sad? Of course, we are quite sure that he must have failed the test. He can't have passed the test because he's sad. So whenever you have something to tell you, you can be quite sure about something. You can use must and can't. In both cases, you need something to tell you. You have to use a certain evidence or a clue. Here are more examples. Here's the picture. Someone is sleeping. He must have worked very hard. He could have gone to bed late last night. So we have different possibilities. When you have something quite certain, you use must. You are not quite sure, use could, may, or might. Is he tired? He could have gone to bed late last night. He must have scored. That's why he is happy. His team can't have lost the game. It's impossible because he's very happy. His girl on this boy on the floor, the ground, this girl, she must have had an accident. It's quite certain. She may have been attacked. What is the reason of the accident? We don't know. This is just a guessing. We are not quite sure. That's why we use may. And here we have the baby, and we have the trace of something. He has eaten something. She or he must have eaten. We are quite sure that he must have eaten. But what's this? We are not quite sure, so you can give a guessing. He may have eaten ice cream. This may be the trace of ice cream. He may have eaten ice cream. Of course, you can use these for we must have finished. This must have helped you. You might have learnt something anyway. It can't have been all useless. Of course, you can use it to make questions anymore. So, could aliens have visited our planet without us knowing? Could aliens have visited? We are asking about possibility, or in WS questions, why might she have said that? Why might she have said that? You can start with she might have said that. Of course, we always use have, not has, because we have the modals. You can't use has with the modals. So here's the form WH might or could or may, subject, have, and past participle. Here's the form. So let's get back to your student book. Now, of course, we'll start. Go back to your student book page 7 to 9. I asked you to try to complete these words is taken from the listening on page 7 to 8. So what are the completions? Look at all the models used here. The could the giant have, may have, can't have, might have, and must have. All of them are followed by have, and of course after have we have past participle. So again, if you are quite sure about something, you should use must. If you are not sure, the must of course, or can't. If you are not sure, use could, may, or might. So the first one, it's easy to believe that a giant might have built them. Humans, number one. What about two? Humans can't have built it either. You are quite certain that it's impossible. What's the evidence? It's just too big. So humans can't have built it. What about three? Could the giant have built this causeway? Asking about a possibility, you are not quite sure, that's why you are asking. He may have built the enormous causeway so that he could walk across the sea. Here's one theory. When you talk about theories, it means you have more than one possibility. That's why you use may, could, or have. When you use must or can't, it means that you have only one possibility. The local people say it must have been a giant. So here we have different completions for the sentences. What about the rules? Look at the rules. And number two, what verb form follows the phrases in the box, infinitive or past participle? Of course, we usually have be, the past participle, because we're talking about the past tense. When you talk about the present tense or the future, you can use the infinitive. Are the examples talking about the past or the present? Of course, we are talking about the past. Match the models 1 to 3 with the meanings. So must have, can't have, might, may, and could have. All of these is one group, so we don't have a difference between might, may, and could, at least in your book, of course. So when we use must have, what does that mean? We said that must have means that you are quite certain about something. This is the only possibility. Can't have, it means again that you are quite certain something is impossible. Might, may, could means you are talking about one possibility, so you're not quite sure. That's why here are the meanings. So one with be, must with be. I think this is the only explanation. So must means the only explanation. Can't with two with a is impossible. Can't means something is impossible. A, and of course three, might, may, could have means this explanation is possible. When I say possible, but it's not, it isn't the only one. We have other possibilities. We are not quite certain. Okay, let's move to exercise 3. Match the beginnings and the ends of the sentences. Here we have a question and we have guessings or speculations. So what was that noise? Here we have 3 different speculations. It might have been the branch of a tree. It can't have been the cat. It must have been the neighbor's kids. So again, of course, try to match them with their meanings or their completions. Of course, this is the right completion. So when number 1, C, B, and A. So C with 1, it might have been, might, you are not quite sure. It's windy and there's a tree outside the window. It's just a guessing. You are not quite sure. It can't have been the cat. Why? You are quite sure it's impossible. because she's sitting here with me. I'm talking about the cat, of course. Must, you're quite sure, must have. It's Halloween and they are out trick or treating. So they are playing. So that's why I know that these are the kids, the neighbor's kids. What about 2? Where's John? He said he would be here at 8. He must have got stuck in traffic. I know that. I'm quite sure. Why? Of course, you can give a certain explanation. He may, you're not quite sure. He can't, it's possible. So that's again B, A, and C. He must have, I'm quite sure. The roads are really busy tonight. I'm quite certain, and this is the reason I know that the roads are quite busy tonight. What about 2? He may have gone to the supermarket. This is a possibility because I asked him to go. I asked him to get some milk. What about the third one? He can't have got lost. It's impossible that he got lost. Why? Because he has been to our house a millions times. A million times. So this is the way how we match the guessings with the speculations with the models. Get it right, we don't use can with have past participle. We only use may, might, or could. It could have been a giant. Why do we use that? Of course, can here in the present form expresses ability. Expresses ability. It's not for speculation. What about your turn? Here, of course, you can express a speculation in the past or guessing about the past. So what happened here? So you can be sure about your guessing or you may express certain possibility. If you are sure, you should give your evidence. So he must have jumped out of a plane. He must have jumped out of the plane. Here's the parachute, and of course he is quite in the air, so he must have jumped out of a plane. I'm quite sure. Of course, you can express certain possibilities here. This house must have been built this way. It must have been built this way. Okay, let's move to your workbook on page 70. Here's again, of course, you are asked to complete the rules here. To talk about possible explanation in the past, we use a modal verb plus have and past participle, of course. Sorry. What about number 2? Circle the correct words. So here we are asked to choose the correct models. Of course, why do we use can't here? It doesn't exist. So you can't have sent the Yeti, which is the giant snow creature, snowman. It doesn't exist. That's why it can't be true. That's why we use can't. The lion in the woods have been a domestic cat. It's the only explanation because we say this is the only explanation. So I'm quite sure that's why we use, of course, must. So please complete these sentences. What about exercise 3? What do you have in exercise 3? Again, write sentences with the prompts and the brackets. So here we have the chosen models. Of course, you have to choose might, have, or the model, the given model with past participle, have past participle. So here the first one, how did the thief get into the house? He might have had a key. So here's the verb. He might have had a key. Why didn't the alarm go off? The thief must have switched it off. So must have switched it off. So here's must have and past participle. You're quite certain. Of course, we just choose the model that is given with a sentence. What about number 4? Again, complete the text with must have, can't have, might, may, could have. We said these are the same. And the correct form of verbs in the box. So according to your guessings, so if you are quite certain, you should use must have past participle, can't have past participle if you are not, or if you are sure that something is impossible, and may, might, and could if you are not certain. So look at the example. For example, that the Neolithic people must have built it between 2500 BC and 1500. Scientists analyzing the story say that. So here are scientists. They are quite certain about this date. So you are asked to complete with your guessings according to the context. The context can tell you if you are quite certain or not certain. What about 5? Think about the people who lived in your country several thousand years ago. Write at least 5 sentences. So here it's your turn to produce your own guessings about the past. So what might the life have been like? So what might the life have been like thousands of years ago in your country? We can give guessings about food, entertainment, diseases, houses, work, education, visitors, different things. So just choose any topic and give your own guessings. Of course, you can write your guessings or send your voice records. You're welcome to do that. This is everything about your language focus 2. Here's speculation with models in the past. Thank you and see you next time, of course, with the exercises. We will do them together.